News from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV's World News. Let's take you through the news coming in from across the world. Ukraine captures Russia's Sudzha in Kursk, claims Zelensky. Ukraine takes control of 82 Russian settlements. Ukraine and Russia begin talks on prisoner swap deal. Death toll in Gaza crosses 40,000. 2.3 million displaced. Meanwhile, new round of Gaza ceasefire talks begin in Qatar. Palestine President Abbas says will visit Gaza despite the risks. Sweden and Pakistan confirm Mpox cases outside Africa. WHO declares Mpox a public health emergency. Deadliest ever strain kills over 450 in Congo. US President Biden returns to campaign trail. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden make first joint appearance in Maryland. Trump says entitled to personal attacks against Harris. Five people charged in actor Matthew Perry's death case. Two doctors, dealers, his assistant charged for his death as well. A top focus, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukrainian forces have taken control of the Russian town of Sudzha over a week after his forces launched a cross-border incursion into Russia's Kursk region. Kyiv's forces have been in town located 105 kilometers southwest of the city's Kursk since last Wednesday, but this is the first confirmation from the Ukrainian president that his army had captured it. Ukraine says it has begun talks with Russia over the exchange of prisoners captured by Kyiv as it presses on with its startling counter-incursion in the Kursk region. An exclusive report from Sudzha in the Kursk region, where the Ukrainian film crew of TSN TV channel 1+1 visited, manages to show that they drive into the city itself and that Sudzha itself is almost intact, but Russians are bombing it with the air is what they learned, and that they're trying to destroy the Ukrainian units in the city as well. Take a look.
Головком доповів щодо операції в Курській області. Є нове просування, є нове поповнення нашого обмінного фонду. Також генерал Сирський доповів про завершення звільнення міста Суджа від російських військових. І там зараз створюється українська військова комендатура. Звільнені також іще кілька населених пунктів. Загалом вже більше, ніж 80. Я дякую кожному нашому воїну, який все це забезпечує. Молодці!
Time has come, and we are reporting from the settlement of Sudzha in Kursk region, passing by a column of burned-out vehicles. This burnt metal was once Russian equipment heading towards Ukraine, but as you can see, it didn't make it. This is what Sudzha looks like now, once a town of 5,000 people. Now you can notice the difference between the approach of Russian and Ukrainian military. Our forces entered and everything is intact. Now no drones or artillery are needed here. The city is being destroyed by Russian air bombs. We are now at the site of the first battle in Sudzha, which lasted exactly 1 day. Over there was the Ukrainian border, and after that our troops moved further.
The fight lasted all day, from morning till evening. What do you think will happen if there is nothing? I think the bodies of Russians. I don't think it's worth going there. It might be mined.
Local resident Vadim observed from his house. He wasn't evacuated, although he has a small child. And tell me, how old is your child?
A year, 1 year and 3 months.
Take the food here. More than 100 people remain in the city. They are hiding in shelters. In this basement, only civilians are left hiding from air bombs. And we understand perfectly that there are no Ukrainian air bombs. So they are hiding from Russian air bombs. Food and water are beginning to run out. Can you please tell me why this happened?
I don't know. We were friends, comrades, brothers. What happened is unclear.
Have you heard about the war in Ukraine?
I didn't hear anything. Nobody told us anything. Our government abandoned us, went away like cats. Those rich people who had cars left us, and we stayed there. We were simply left like a necessary element.
Now, on the other hand, Moscow's defense ministry reports that Ukrainian losses in the Kursk region over the past 24 hours or so amount to 340 soldiers, with a total of 2,600 men killed in action throughout the incursion. RT correspondent Igor Zhanov brings us more. Take a look.
Russia has been able to contain the initial advance of the Ukrainian forces, and now it is slowly getting on the offensive itself. So previously, Major General and commander of the Akhmat Special Force, General Abti Alaudinov, revealed what he believes was the initial plan of the Ukrainian militants here. Apparently, the Blitzkrieg was meant to lead the Ukrainian force to the Kursk nuclear power station, and by taking that, it would have allowed the Kyiv regime and would have provided the Kyiv regime with enough leverage to basically confront Russia with an ultimatum. Now, the fighting, of course, is still, it does still continue. The Ukrainians aren't leaving by themselves. They aren't showing any intent to leave. So it seems that the Russian armed forces will have to do, well, to do hard work just to kick them out of the internationally recognized Russian territory. This would have been much harder if the Russian jets weren't operating 24/7 here. They are hitting both the front lines and the Ukrainian reserves in the back. At the same time, the Ukrainians, they have revealed that apparently they have been consulting with their NATO allies before this border incursion, something that both the United States and Europe had previously denied.
There are certain things that have to be done with the element of surprise, and that have to happen on a local level. But there were discussions between partner forces, just not on the public level.
Now, this statement is a bit of a stab in the back for the American president, Joe Biden, whose spokesperson just a day earlier, just a day before that, had claimed that the American leader did not get a heads up.
Can I ask about Ukraine as well? I just wanted to know whether the US supports Ukraine's incursion into the Kursk region.
I don't have anything else to share. I don't. What I will say is that we're certainly not engaged in any aspect of the planning or preparation of this operation, but generally speaking, we're going to continue to support Ukraine as they defend themselves against Russia's aggression, Russia's attacks. Don't have anything else to share beyond that. We're not going to speak to Ukrainians' military operation. That's something that they should do for themselves.
So there you have it. But the fact that the Ukrainians have just revealed that apparently everyone was in the know when it comes to their allies, when it comes to the United States, to the EU, that they were in the know of their plans to try this border incursion into Russia, it doesn't really change much.
Shifting focus now, more than 40,000 Palestinians have been killed in the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. The territory's health ministry had informed. Now, Israel's offensive has also wounded 92,401 people and displaced over 85% of the population from their homes. Meanwhile, newly resumed Gaza ceasefire talks are expected to continue as well, as US and regional officials have said amid efforts to diffuse intensifying tensions across the Middle East. White House spokesperson John Kirby as well mentioned that negotiations were underway in Doha with the participation of officials from Israel, the United States, Qatar and Egypt. Listen in.
Talks are moving forward today in Doha. President Biden directed Director Burns and Brett McGurk to participate for the United States. They're on the ground right now working with representatives from Israel, Qatar, and Egypt. Qatar and Egypt are in turn mediating with Hamas. The resumption of these talks is an important step. And in the lead up to this meeting, we'd already narrowed some gaps.
To bring you more details, my colleague Ghazali joins us. Ghazali, take us through the areas that have been most affected in Gaza.
See, if you see the map here, this is the northern Gaza and this is the South Gaza. South Gaza touches the border of Egypt, and this is where in the North Gaza, where the Israeli operation is started post-October 7 attack. But in this entire area, the biggest tragedy for the Palestinians has been that they have been asked to move from one end to another on multiple occasions. In the last 10 months of this war, Israel has been indiscriminately bombing all these areas, be it the North Gaza, the Gaza city, or the central Gaza. But the most impacted area has been the Khan Yunis and the Rafah area. Rafah area was from where the Palestinians in the Gaza city used to sort of receive humanitarian aid from Egypt and other humanitarian organizations. But if you see the loss of life in the last 10 months, more than 1.7% of the overall population of Gaza has perished in this war. And till yesterday, the data suggests that more than 40,000 people have been killed. But experts also believe that around 10,000 people are still not found, and they may be buried under the rubble. And once that would be cleared, then the death toll figures will only increase. Also, nearly 60% of buildings in Gaza has been damaged, including schools, hospitals. That is also violation of international humanitarian law. The United Nations have been raising all these issues with the Israeli government and also with their counterparts in the US. But that has not deterred Israel from carrying out these attacks in the entire Gaza Strip.
Right, thank you, Ghazali, for joining us and bringing us those details. We'll continue tracking these stories for you. For now, a short break.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
This week on India Ascends.
Top voices on India at 2030.
how will India shape the world order? The world's third largest economy. From climate change to disaster relief. Leading the global south. All this and more only on India Sense with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One.
Welcome back. After 400 deaths across Africa, Sweden and Pakistan confirm Mpox cases outside the continent. The World Health Organization has declared Mpox a public health emergency, with the new clade 1B strain of the disease being declared the deadliest ever. However, despite the many deaths, the World Health Organization has now urged the public to remain calm, stating that the disease could be dealt with as long as the right things were done at the right time. I'm being joined by Dr. Anita Ramesh, infection disease expert and specialist in clinical trials as well. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Ramesh. Now, the WHO has issued a public health emergency warning. Is it time to now deploy measures based on the lessons that we have learned from the COVID pandemic?
Yes, a very good morning. I think it is very important to keep our gears ready because, you know, this is a Mpox from the pox virus, usually spreads by contact, sexual contact, body fluid. It can also spread by cough. So what you said is very correct. We need to put all the things in place: prevention, 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 isolation, and then awareness, early detection, and covering our body parts or PPE that is particularly marked so that you don't sneeze and cough. sexual contacts, any blood fluids like the precautions we took for COVID has to be in place. So this is it's a type of global warning has been put, and we should not take the things lightly. You know that a number of cases are increasing, and it's outside Africa also. And though we have a vaccine, but I think at this point everybody should be alerted, but not to be panicked. Please put your guards on prevention and prevent exposure, prevent contact.
Absolutely, Dr. Ramesh, like you said, prevention is very important. Now that the cases have been reported in Pakistan as well, we had seen earlier with the case of COVID as well that a cross-border transfer of these viruses happen quite quickly. India hasn't issued advisories yet, but what precautions can we expect the country to announce?
Awareness. We need to aware everybody that there is travel restriction across the borders where the testing is needed. Secondly, cover your face, and not the face, the mouth and the nose. So your secretions, you don't get others' secretion, and neither do you give the secretion to others. If you have a suspicion that you are having fever, body pain, headache, you're feeling weak, and start seeing some blisters in the body, rashes, please report to the immediate local authorities, and they will tell you what to do. Yes, we have to gear up our testing facilities. That is the RT-PCR, that's a PCR for DNA testing. And the health facilities all over the country should gear up. And I think we are in a better position post-COVID because we have the things in place. And awareness and sexual. One more important thing, this disease spreads sexually. So it should be a barrier method. So unknown sex, please avoid. Promiscuous partners, please avoid, can be potential threat. Next is barrier. We tell for barrier methods of sexual contact will be preferable, but then everything is better to avoid. I think at this point of time, this awareness and sensitizing the nation will be of a big help, but not to panic. Yes, we can be able to control the disease.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for joining us and bringing us those details and helping us understand what precautions should be taken. Shifting focus now, US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris appeared together in Maryland to discuss their plan to lower out-of-pocket costs for their older adults on Medicare, their first joint campaign ever since the president ended his re-election bid. Crowds chanted, "Thank you, Biden," and listening to what Biden, former President Donald Trump as well had to say, as Donald Trump had held a news conference as well.
I've been waiting for this moment for a long, long time. First time I sponsored a bill to let Medicare negotiate the price of drugs was in 1973 as a freshman senator with a guy named Frank Church from the state of Idaho. Folks, I have an incredible partner. The progress we made, she's going to make one hell of a president.
I'm very angry at her that she'd weaponized the justice system against me and other people. Very angry at her. I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president.
Now, shifting focus, in the unfortunate death of Friends star Matthew Perry, US prosecutors have said that they've charged 5 people, including 2 doctors, over the death of Matthew Perry, who died at his Los Angeles home last year after struggling with years of addiction. The 5, who include 2 doctors and the actor's assistant as well, have been accused of taking advantage of Perry's condition.
Following Mr. Perry's death in October of last year, law enforcement, my office, and our partners represented on this stage began an in-depth, wide-ranging investigation. That investigation has revealed a broad, underground criminal network responsible for distributing large quantities of ketamine to Mr. Perry and others. This network included a live-in assistant, various go-betweens, 2 medical doctors, and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen. We charged 5 defendants in this matter.
We'll bring you more on these stories. For now, we take a short break.
This week on India Ascends.
Top voices on India at 2030. How will India shape the world order? The world's third largest economy. From climate change to disaster relief. Leading the global south.
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news,